I wonder, has anybody ever made a perfect bracket? Like, most times, I want to say about 95% of the brackets made are busted after the first round. I know mine was last year because I picked this school to win and they lost the 16th seed. So, with that being said, I'm about to go ahead and get up into this tournament because I promise y'all I'm going to be the first perfect bracket. Mark my words on that. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the East. We have Duke versus North Dakota State. Okay, so now we know that it is possible for a 16th seed to be the 1 seed. Thank you, UVA. But, I mean, come on now. Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett, Coach K. I just feel like North Dakota State just does not have the talent to beat Duke. Now, Duke is notorious for their first round exits. But, I mean, this year, I just don't see it. So, Duke's going to win that game. VCU and UCF. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pick. This is a pick 'em right here. I'm going to just pick VCU. I don't know why. Fuck. We got Mississippi State versus Liberty. Now, one thing that you do need to pick in these brackets is upsets because upsets always happen. A game like this, Liberty could beat Mississippi State. Now, I just don't think they're going to, but I mean, I could be wrong. We got Virginia Tech versus SLU. You know what? Every year there are teams that make this tournament that I've just never heard of their school. And my rule is if I don't know your school, I'm not picking you. So we're going to go ahead and go with Virginia Tech. Maryland versus Belmont. Now, Maryland is my home state, and that's the team I'm rooting for in this tournament. But what I noticed about Maryland is I wouldn't be surprised if Belmont beat them. Because Maryland, if they won't lose in the first round, they'll lose in the second round. I think the last time they actually won the tournament was in 2001, which was almost 20 years ago. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Maryland just because I'm rooting for them. But don't be surprised if Belmont beats them. Because Maryland is just so booty crack. We got LSU versus Yale. I'm going to go ahead and pick LSU. Louisville versus Minnesota. I do want to pick Louisville, but you got to pick upsets. So I'm going to just say Minnesota's going to upset them. They might not, but I'm going to just pick that one. Michigan State versus Bradford. Okay, so Michigan State is just way too talented. I'm not, Bradford does not beat no Michigan State. I watched them play. That team can ball. Oh my God, I'm so fucking disgusted with UVA because they made me look stupid last year. I picked them to win the championship last year, and they were a 1 seed like this year, and they lost a 16th seed. So, I mean, who is Webb? Oh, that's Weber. So let me ask y'all, the team that actually beat them last year, are they in the tournament? I doubt it. I mean, UVA can't lose to a 16th seed back-to-back years. Is that possible? I mean, nah, I just can't. I can't. Even though they disgusted me last year, but I just can't. You can't pick no 16 to beat no 1. I mean, nah, hell nah. So we got Ole Miss versus Oklahoma. I'm going to go ahead and pick Oklahoma to win that game. Wisconsin versus Oregon. Wisconsin's going to win that. Kansas State University versus UCI. Like I said, if I have never heard of your school, I ain't picking you. So we're going to go ahead and pick Kansas State. We got Villanova versus SMC. What does that stand for? And you gotta go to SMC. I'm going to go ahead and pick Villanova because I don't know that school. Purdue versus Old Domain. Damn, I do want to pick this upset. I feel like this is going to be an upset, but I mean, Purdue, I don't know. Purdue got game. No, I'm picking Purdue. Fuck that shit. I'm not picking Old Domain to beat no damn Purdue. I don't know what was just going through my head thinking Old Domain can beat Purdue. Cincinnati versus Iowa. Cincy's going to win that. Tennessee versus... Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pick Tennessee because I don't know who the fuck a Kalug is. Now we're down to the West. We got Gonzaga versus FDU. What the fuck is an FDU? Syracuse versus Baylor. Syracuse is gonna win that. Marquette versus Murray State. All right, this is gonna be one of my upsets. I think Murray State's gonna beat Marquette, even though Marquette is a good school. But I just feel like somebody got to get upset. Florida State versus UVM. Okay, so is this like a Division III school? Why have I never heard of this school? That's crazy. Florida State's gonna win that. Buffalo beat Georgetown one year when Georgetown was like that. I think it was when Otto Porter was there, and they was like a 2 seed, and Buffalo was a 15, and they beat them. That shit was crazy. But Georgetown is trash now. Georgetown used to be really good, but now, oh my god, fucking booty meat. Wow, this game still hasn't ended. Well, whatever. Whoever wins this game, they're not gonna be Buffalo. Buffalo's gonna win this game. Texas Tech University versus NKU. What is an NKU? What is that? What state does that college reside in? We're gonna go ahead and pick Texas Tech. Nevada versus Florida. Florida's gonna win that. Michigan versus it's Montana. Okay, so does Montana have a good sports anything? I mean, they don't have any major sports teams. So, I mean, damn, it must suck to live in Montana. Y'all ain't got shit. Y'all just got a bunch of cow shit and farms and cold weather. I'm going to go ahead and pick Michigan, though, because Michigan is a good school. They be balling. We got University of North Carolina versus Ncaa. Okay, so that's not hard. Shit, it might be UNC Duke in the finals. I might pick a little something. Oh, it all depends on how this bracket shapes out. Let's see. USU versus Washington. Oh, that's Utah State. Okay, so Washington. I don't know. This is a pick'em game. I'm gonna just pick Washington. Auburn versus NMSU. They look like John from Red Dead. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pick. Like I said, if I don't know your school, I ain't picking you. I don't give a fuck. We're going to go ahead and go with Auburn. Kansas versus New England. That looks like that got to be New England. But, yeah, Kansas is going to win that. I'm not picking many upsets. Well, I did pick one, Murray State. We got Iowa State versus Ohio State. That might... Nah, I feel like... Fuck it. All right. Ohio State's going to win that. Houston versus Georgia State. Houston's going to win. Oh, my, this thing is wonky. Houston's going to win that. WOF versus Hall. Okay, so, see, this is one of those cases where I don't know either of these schools. Like, so if I don't know your schools, I'm not picking you, but I got to pick somebody. So I'm going to just go ahead and go with... Oh, that may be Wofford. I heard of Wofford. All right, I'm going to go with Wofford. Kentucky versus ACU. You know, I got a feeling that Kentucky going to lose. But I just can't pick them to lose to a school that I've never heard of. There's so many schools that I've never heard of this year in the tournament. That's crazy. All right, so now we're at the round of 32. We got Duke versus VCU. Duke's gonna win that. I mean, just Zion Williamson. I've watched Duke so much this year, and Zion, it just jumps off my screen. This guy he's almost like a college version of like Shaq, where he's just so dominant. There's no way you can match up with him. You know, it's like, you know, if you put a big on him, he's too fast. But if you put a smaller guy on him, he's too big. So, I mean, it's just a hybrid. There's no way to stop him. You got to double team him. But see, the thing about Duke is they have other good players. So if you double team Zion, he can get the ball to their other players and they can, you know, go to work. That's why I think they're just so unbeatable. It's because when you have a great player, a dominant player, and good players surrounding him, good things will happen. So we got Mississippi State versus Virginia Tech. I got Virginia Tech winning that game. We got Maryland versus LSU. Now, thing about Maryland, they may win game one, but they gonna lose in game two. But even though I think LSU's gonna win this game, but because they're my home state, I'm gonna go ahead and pick Maryland to win this game and make it to the Sweet 16. Even though my bracket's probably gonna be busted right here, but we got Michigan State versus Minnesota. Michigan State's gonna win that. Let's go up here. We got UVA versus Oklahoma. I really don't want to pick UVA. I don't. Yeah, I'm still kind of salty after what y'all did to me last year. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm tempted to pick Oklahoma in this game. Just to spite y'all. You know what? Fuck it. I'm picking Oklahoma because y'all, UVA, oh my God. Y'all fucking just straight destroyed my bracket last year. Like, my bracket, that was probably the worst year ever that I've made a bracket because I've never, like, come on now. I picked them to win a championship and they lost in the first round to a 16 seed. We got Wisconsin versus Kansas State. I got Wisconsin winning that game. And we got Villanova versus Purdue. Purdue is going to win that. Maybe Villanova, but I don't know. Tennessee versus Cincinnati. Tennessee's going to win that. We go down here. We got Gonzaga versus Syracuse. I'm going to go ahead and pick. I wouldn't be surprised if Syracuse did beat them, but I'm going to pick Gonzaga just because Gonzaga generally, they're not one of those one and done teams in the tournament. They generally make some noise. Now, they never win, but they at least get to Sweet 16, Elite 8 territory. They're not those schools like fucking Virginia or Georgetown that are like one and done or two and done every single year. We got Florida State versus Murray State. Florida State's going to win that. Buffalo versus Texas Tech. Okay, so I feel like this year Buffalo, even though would a 6 seed be considered a Cinderella story? Not really. I feel like your seed, in order for you to be a Cinderella, your seed has to be double digits. It can't be single digits. So, but I'm going to say Buffalo's going to win this game. Just because I feel like they're probably going to be the closest thing to a Cinderella this year. See, like right here, I mean, Florida is a good team and I would like to pick them, but they're just not going to beat Michigan. That's just not a good matchup for them. So Michigan's going to win that. We got UNC and Washington. North Carolina, hey, them Tar Heels, man, even though I feel like Duke is better, but they did beat Duke twice. Now, Duke did beat them in the tournament in the ACC, but don't forget, they beat this team twice. Now, one was without Zion, but still, Duke is still a good team. So we're going to go ahead and pick UNC. Don't it seem like UNC and like Duke and Kansas are always good? It's crazy. Kansas and Auburn. All right, I got Kansas winning that. Kansas is the real deal chicken meal every year. I'm actually surprised. This has been a down year for them. They're a 4 seed. But that goes to show you how good they are. See, a 4 seed is a down year for them. But for most teams, that's fucking excellent. We got Ohio State versus Houston. I want to pick Ohio State. But Houston got that O though. Houston, they got that O. They like the Houston Rockets in the NBA. It just both college and professional in Houston got that O. And we got Wofford versus Kentucky. Kentucky's gonna win that. I'm not picking a school to beat Kentucky named after a hamburger. Like, come on now. So now we got Duke. We're in the Sweet 16. We got Duke versus Virginia Tech. Duke's gonna win that. I'm not picking against Zion. Zion's a beast. Like, come on now. And then we got Maryland versus Michigan State. Now, I want my home state to win it this year. Even though they're not going to, I want them to at least get far. And I would love to see them beat Michigan State. But it's just like, nah. Michigan State just got too much talent. I mean, shit, Maryland might not even make it. I just don't have any faith in that damn team. I watched them a couple times this year. I mean, they not really all that. Not like when they had Melo Trimble and Diamond Stone. They was actually pretty good then. And they actually made it to Sweet 16, but they lost to West Virginia because they just couldn't get past the press. But yeah, just Michigan State is just too good. I just can't. I want to pick Maryland, but just nah. Michigan State, nah. I can't pick them to beat no damn Michigan State. Come on now. So we got Oklahoma versus Wisconsin. Wisconsin's gonna win that. Purdue versus Tennessee. I got Tennessee Volunteers winning that. We got Gonzaga versus Florida State. Like I said, Gonzaga generally isn't one of those teams that gets upset. So Gonzaga is going to win that. Buffalo versus Michigan. Buffalo's run ends here. They're not going to be Michigan. You know what I noticed about the tournament? Yes, there are always upsets, but generally around like the Sweet 16 is where like the best teams, like the Cinderella stories end around Sweet 16 time. Like generally Cinderella stories or like low seeded teams don't make it to the Elite Eight. That's why it's called the Elite Eight. All the best teams are gonna be in the Elite Eight. Now every now and then, like once every 5 years, you may get one that probably squeaks into the Elite Eight, but it's not common. Nah, pretty much for a team like, let's say, Murray State, getting to the Sweet 16 is successful for them because they know they're not going to win a championship. So if they can at least win a couple games, their school is going to get a lot of, notoriety, or they're going to get a lot of recruits or a lot of scholarships and shit. That's why I remember it was this one school called Florida Gulf Coast, and they were unheard of, but they made the Sweet 16 as one tournament, and they got a bunch of recruits, all from making a Sweet 16. They didn't even win a championship. Hell, they didn't even get close. But because they won a couple games, they got noticed. People started going there. Now they're not in the tournament this year because they straight booty me, but still, y'all get my point. All right, so where was I? All right, we got UNC versus Kansas. Oh, this is gonna be a game right here. But it's just Kansas this year isn't the Kansas that we know and love. And I just feel like UNC, if Kansas was playing any other team, I would pick them. But not North Carolina. North Carolina is the real deal this year. And then we got Kentucky and Houston. I feel like Kentucky is just, they just too young. Like, I mean, having a bunch of talented freshmen will get you but so far. But I think Houston's experience in their offense is going to be too much for Kentucky. So I got Houston winning that game. Now we're in the Elite Eight. We got Duke versus Michigan State. Hey, I like Michigan State. They a good team, but I just, Zion, unless he get hurt, I'm not betting against old Zion. And they got the number 2 player, RJ Barrett. Like, come on now. I'm not picking against Duke. Nah, hell nah. We got Tennessee versus Wisconsin. This is a pick'em game. I mean, like, I wouldn't be surprised if either one won. I'm going to go ahead and pick Tennessee. Just because they're just probably an overall better team. But don't be surprised if Wisconsin would be, if they were to meet in the Elite Eight, Wisconsin could beat them. I just don't think they're going to. We got Gonzaga versus Michigan. Now, I did say that Gonzaga don't generally get upset, but this is not an upset. This is 1 versus 2, and Gonzaga never wins the tournament. This is where Gonzaga will get before they fall. But I think they will be the first number 1 seed to fall. So I got Michigan winning that game because Michigan, when it comes to the tournament, they own it. Like, we got UNC and Houston. UNC is gonna win that most definitely because even though I like Houston's offense, but UNC is just so talented. So now we got the Final Four. I got Duke versus Michigan, and I got Tennessee versus North Carolina. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick Duke because Zion is the real deal chicken meal, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick North Carolina. So for the national championship, I think that we're gonna have Duke versus North Carolina Part 4. Now Duke lost to North Carolina the first time they met, and that was, I think Zion got hurt within like the first couple minutes. I actually watched that game too. And then the second time they met was close to the end of the season. They didn't have Zion, and North Carolina beat them pretty easily. It wasn't a blowout, but it really wasn't that close. Like, it was close until like the fourth quarter, and they pulled away. Just because they didn't have Zion. Zion would have made a difference, and you saw that when they met in the ACC semifinal game. When they had Zion for a full game, North Carolina couldn't stop them. So, I mean, could you imagine a Duke versus North Carolina national championship? Holy shit, I'm most definitely watching that. But I gotta pick one, and I mean, I like North Carolina. I like their team. I like their coach. I like their culture. But Zion Williamson, I mean, I'm talking about, hey, he the real deal chicken meal. Like, I'm not picking against old Zion. I think Duke is going to beat North Carolina in a close game for the national championship. And that's pretty much my bracket. I think this is a perfect bracket. Probably not, but hey,